In order to start this discussion, some people actually don't know you. So can you please introduce yourself and also introduce EK?
For those that don't know me, my name's Joe Hilger. I am one of the co-founders of Enterprise Knowledge. I founded the company, goodness, about 12 years ago with Zach Wall. And since then have watched the company grow from two people dreaming of having an international consultancy to a firm that does nearly $20 million in business in nearly every continent in the world.
Yeah.
So that's me. I also wrote, co-wrote with Zach Wall, Making Knowledge Management Clickable, and have just wrapped up another book with Zach Wall and Lalit Tesfaye on semantic layers, which will be coming out from Springer Publishing in the next 2 to 3 months. So that's a little bit of my history. And then, Matthieu, about Enterprise Knowledge. We are the largest dedicated knowledge management consultancy in the world. But what I really, I guess, would stress is when we founded the company, knowledge management, which is for us getting the right people, the right information at the right time, was as much about technology as it was about people and process. And as we started to look for ways to make information more findable and understandable, by 2015, we were starting to use graphs and knowledge graphs. And of course, now we've moved pretty heavily into AI in conjunction with graphs and a lot of what we call the semantic layer to organize your information.
Okay. So what you're saying is that knowledge management and graph technology, and obviously AI today are indissociable, right?
I, I think they're critical, especially at large organizations. And it's interesting, what started as a way to organize information and make it more findable has become one of the key tools in making internal AI initiatives work.
Hmm.
So yes, they're pretty much hand in hand, super important.
Okay. Yeah. So what is the main, if you want to remember one thing about 2025, what would it be for the technology, for and also for your company?
I think 2025 has been a learning year for organizations about how to work with AI. Uh, Everyone picked up ChatGPT, and in the outside world, just, oh, wow, look at the amazing things this does. And so organizations have started to get smarter about it. Everyone quotes the MIT study where 5% of these proof of concepts actually ever work and
Hmm.
move into production, or considered successful. So this to me was, for large organizations, the year of learning. And I think people are getting a lot smarter as we've come to the end of the year. Requests for ways to manage your content ahead of the AI, kind of the
Hmm.
AI readiness story, is starting to become really important. For us at EK, it was funny. 2 years ago, we bet heavily on the semantic layer. We said this idea of a central layer that maps information across the enterprise using metadata, taxonomies, and knowledge graphs, and looking at both data, i.e. structured data, and content, unstructured data. We called that the semantic layer, and we said it was going to be big. And really, as organizations have learned, we saw the realization of semantic layer as a critical component for any large organization to get a handle on their information. So it was a nice win, and nice to see that happen.
And so, do you believe that the methodology that was pushed and developed by Enterprise Knowledge is a key for the success of a GenAI project within a big organization, right?
I will go bold here. I don't just believe it, I know it. And I know it because half the projects we're doing the second half of this year are projects where someone tried to do it the other way and failed, and then turned around and said, we have to do this a different way. And then they called us, and guess what? It's working. So the understanding that you need a knowledge graph to map things across your organization, that you have cleanup to do of old and outdated content. Actually, one of the things we look for is near duplicate content. That
Mhm.
information that is versions of a document where the old versions are inaccurate, right? Fixing that. And then getting metadata to just provide more context for the LLM. All of that work is critical to make these LLMs successful. And we're having great success stories now with clients because we're doing things the right way, especially when we pull things together with graphs.
Okay. Okay. So 2025, a year of learning. What do you expect from 2026?
It's interesting. We've been chatting about that internally among the leadership team, and there's some worry about the economy, which I think we're all paying attention to. But companies have made big investments in AI, and they're not yet getting the returns. And I think what we're going to see is organizations are going to be much smarter about how they approach this. Last week, I was in Australia, and I met with 3 of the largest banks there. And all of them were talking about a semantic layer. Not all of them had heard of us, so it wasn't just our doing. They weren't from our little knowledge management space. They just had realized that to manage their data, to manage their content, they need uh, a semantic layer, which includes as a key component of it, a graph that maps information across the enterprise. So seeing that companies are starting to get it, I think there's going to be real investment in getting better control over your information so that when they do the LLMs, particularly the agentic AI piece, because I think that's really the piece that'll take off next year, that they're more successful. So I would say I think we're going to have a smarter group, and we're going to have focus on agents that create more meaningful solutions.
Okay. If I say we are nearing the golden age of graph technology, how would you react?
Wow. So look, they've hit the big time. When people are using it not just for search and not just for kind of the old school stuff that, look, knowledge graphs got popular again because of Google and Google's knowledge panels, but this is different. So yes, I think it's the golden age, but I think it's going to be interesting to watch because I had a client challenge me the other day. They said, very large organization that had spoken to some other consulting firms as well. And they said, we feel like we need graph, but we talked to a few other consultancies who said, oh, they did it for some places and it didn't work. They tried to go too big, too broad. They didn't have a focus. So I think graph is all in the spotlight. From that sense, it's in the golden age. I think there's going to be a lot of learning of how to do semantic layer and truly enterprise scale knowledge graphs the right way this year. If the golden age is, are people talking about it? Then absolutely yes. If it's the golden age of, are people going to do it well? I think we're going to see a mixed bag of that. It'll be learning there.
I definitely agree with you. Another question is, what's in it here for graph visualization and also for graph investigation?
That to me is the fun part that we tell our clients. And Matthieu, this is going to be wonderful for you and your company. They're diving into semantic layers because Gardner told them to. Honestly, I think that's often a driver. They're finding out that it requires a graph. So we see all these data people that never used knowledge graphs. Like, oh, I need a graph. And the first thing we tell them is, you need it to do your GenAI. You do. But if that's all you do with it, you're wasting your time. And you need it to do more. That type of navigation through something that's so natural as a graph in the way people think and act is huge. So I think a byproduct of everyone trying to solve their generative AI failures is going to be implementing a graph. And then they're going to say, well, how do I see what's in this? And then after that, they're going to say, what more can I do with it? And for me, you all are going to be in a wonderful place. I think you should have a great run next year of people saying, now I've got this graph. How do I see it? How do I take advantage of it other than just asking questions to a chatbot? So absolutely. I think you will be the surprise package that adds great value to what a lot of people have started to build for maybe not the initial reason of having a graph.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. So you're opening offices all around the world now. So I've heard about Europe. Now I see you posting on LinkedIn about trails in hiking in Australia. So what's next now?
I don't know, and I don't know that we've yet committed to opening an office in Australia, but as semantic layer has caught on, as graphs have caught on, companies are reaching out to us saying, "We'd like to work with you, but we want you closer." And so Zach and Lulit and I have been figuring out how to do that and really how to replicate the EK of the US elsewhere. The good news is we've made big investments in training. We have Camp EK, which is a 6-month long process of learning EK and how we do things. We have cohorts, we have communities of practice that people engage in, because what's most important for us is we want to be closer to our clients, but we want them to get the same level of service and expertise
Hmm.
that they've got from home base. As we do this, we've figured out the financial and other logistics, but now the most important thing is making sure we have the right people. So we have some tools in place, and we're going to see how that goes. We will definitely open at least one new office this year and maybe a second as well. And the second might, in fact, be in Australia.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Neat to see us again grow from 2 guys in a kitchen or
Yeah.
dining room, and we had a real firm, and to something that's actually now starting to sprout, uh, branch offices.
All right. So thank you, Joe. Do you have anything else to add, to any thought or?
Just, Matthew, looking forward to doing more work with you, and your team, and I am generally nervous about next year just because of the economy, but excited. I really do think this could be a big year for graphs, and I believe, as I should, that graphs make a huge difference for clients. So I think next year we'll all have a lot of fun changing the way clients get and manage and work with information so that all of our clients are more efficient, more effective, and the people are more empowered. Should be a
Hmm.
fun year.